Hi, I am Natalie, and these are my YouTube videos where I talk about all kinds of topics from Tantra to spiritual awakening and conscious work with our inner demons and shadows. And today I wanted to talk about masturbation. And I know it's not the most spiritual topic you would think of, but Tantra is the art of consciousness and awareness through working with the sexual energy. And a lot of our blockages, our emotional blockages, are in our second chakra, which is the sacral chakra, and it's kind of our genitals and all the way up to the belly button, so the womb and the lower abdomen. And a lot of our emotional blockages that are to do with the ages of 0 until around 14 have to do with our second chakra and our sexuality. And these blockages have a very big impact on our day-to-day personality, which I wasn't aware of in the beginning of my journey. And I kind of thought that working with energy and chakras and emotions is here and sex is here, and they have nothing to do with each other. Like, sex is just something I do with people, and meditation is my practice. And Tantra kind of combines the two. And I found out that working with sexual energy and the second chakra, we can find a lot of our emotional blockages to do with borders and boundaries and feeling loved and giving love and just a general sense of who we are as human beings, and especially as our gender, so as men or as women. Because although the soul doesn't have a gender, as it's all energies together, the plus and the minus, the masculine and the feminine together, like God, when we descend to earth, we have to do so in either a female or a masculine body, because this is the third dimension and the realm of separateness. I don't even know how to say that in English. But there's unity, which is one, and then we kind of descend down into the third dimension, and in this dimension, everything is polar. So everything has a plus and a minus, a masculine and a feminine. But also the living beings of this realm come in form as female or male. So although we're an eternal soul and we're everything, we do have a physical body here in this lifetime, and you're either a woman or a man. You can change or be both, or do whatever you want there, but the physicality of it is kind of obvious. And so I found out that working with the sacral chakra as a woman opened up my personality, and it opened up my confidence and my self-worth, and I became a happier and optimistic and positive person, not just from, but also from working with the sexual energy and the second chakra. So diving into work with the second chakra is not an easy thing to do, because I believe that the best way to clear our emotional blockages is through our day-to-day triggers that we deal with. So the day-to-day life, and then we have a trigger, and it kind of awakens an emotion that we didn't know we had inside of us, which then causes us to behave in a certain way. So one of the first things that I worked on when getting into the world of Tantra and second chakra work was masturbation. And masturbation has gotten a very bad reputation. And, when we think of masturbation, we're thinking of like dirty old men masturbating in front of porn. But I have changed my perspective on that subject during the years. And I actually understand that it's one of the most powerful meditation practices that we can do with ourselves. I know that Mantak Chia talks a lot about working with the sexual energy, and there are people who talk about the subject. I do find that they kind of either talk about sex and sexual energy, and there are other people who talk about consciousness and spirituality, and I kind of always connect the two because everything's connected, so are they. And I realized over the years, like, I've been sexually active since I was 15 and a half. And I used to have a boyfriend. We were together from when I was 20 to 25. And every time, not every time, but many times while having sex, he would ask me to touch myself during the sexual activity. And I would feel very embarrassed and ashamed, and I couldn't do it. Like, I physically couldn't put my hand on my punani during sex with him. I couldn't touch myself. I couldn't show him, you know, how I pleasure myself. It was too embarrassing, and I always felt that it was something that I would want to do during sexual activity with someone, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. At that time, I also masturbated underneath the blanket in the dark. So I did start to touch myself around age 20, which is kind of late, I guess, for many reasons. But even when I did it, it was kind of in hiding. And then with this boyfriend, I couldn't do it in front of him. Jumping forward a few years, when I was about 32 years old, and this is 2 years kind of into my like deep spiritual journey, I met this amazing teacher randomly in my neighborhood where I live, and he offered me to come to a naked yoga class, and it sounded insane. And why would I practice yoga naked and, you know, in a room with a bunch of people that I don't know? But I went eventually after about 6 months of persuasion because it was very hard for me to cross that barrier and open myself up in front of people. And, you know, I got to know the people eventually, and I went to classes for quite a while. And so the yoga class was not regular yoga, it was his specific technique of yoga, but we were naked in front of other people, and we were doing work with the sexual energy. And so the room is dark, and we were all sitting around the room and, you know, doing the yoga. And at the end of the practice, before the shavasana, we would do work with the sexual energy, each person with themselves. So basically, I am lying naked in a room with people who are also naked, and we are each raising our sexual energy. And it's not really masturbation, but it is physical touch on my own punani not in front of, because they're all with their eyes closed, but you get it. Like, it's a room for the people, and we're each raising our sexual energy. And at first it was the most embarrassing thing that I could think of. The more I practiced it, the more I went to these classes, the more I realized, you know, what a big deal I made out of it. And our body is so sacred and so sophisticated and so amazing. And once you start understanding how the energy works inside of the body, even something like masturbating becomes very spiritual and energetic, because it's not about coming or reaching orgasm, it's about working with the sexual energy, which is so powerful. I have had very open sexual tantric experiences with men where I did touch myself during the activity, and it's still a little embarrassing for me, but something's opened up. And I also I also started practicing self-masturbation at home as a form of meditation to work with the energy. And I used to do it in front of a mirror in the light and look at myself while I was doing it. And from where I am today, I look back at that girl who was so embarrassed, and I feel her pain. I understand where the embarrassment comes from, and I'm so happy I'm not there anymore, because it's opened me up in so many ways. even to be a more happy and loving person. And there's so much work to do there with ourselves and our own body and our own sexuality and our own energy. And, you know, for some people, it still seems like the most embarrassing thing I can do. But it's, you know, that's the way I found, or one of the ways I found, that we can connect to ourselves and our body and our sexuality and our energy and our soul in a very direct way. And obviously you need the right teacher, the right direction, you need the right practice to do it with the right people. You can do it by yourself at home. There are so many YouTube videos, mostly for men, which is why I'm doing this video, because tantric masturbation is something that I also recommend women to do, especially women who are going through some kind of process, some kind of journey with themselves of inner exploration and shadow work and clearing all the emotional blockages. The sexual energy and working with the sexual energy is something that helped me clear a lot of my blockages and open up the energy and the kundalini in my spine and my body, and amazing stuff that I really couldn't put in one video. I did want to say to the women watching, if you're embarrassed to touch yourself next to someone or by yourself at home, I understand, I get it. It is very embarrassing at first. It's a lot of social conditionings that we've been taught since we were kids, and no one who showed us the right way to discover and explore our sexuality in a spiritual way. But there is, and it exists, and I do recommend it. If you feel a calling, then Tantra might be the way for you. And it doesn't necessarily mean having sex with many people. It first of all means having sex with myself and connecting to myself and my body and my own energy through the sexual energy and the masturbation. I hope that was helpful. And I might talk about it soon in future videos. And if you like this video, you're more than welcome to subscribe and like and follow. And thank you for listening. And I'll see you soon.